Welcome to News Beacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. In the world of global technology, few achievements are as symbolic as building your own passenger jet. For China, that symbol is the C919. The C919, developed by COMAC, is China's answer to the Airbus A320 and Boeing 737. Designed to break the West's duopoly in commercial aviation. For years, China's skies were filled with foreign-made planes, a reminder of economic dependence and strategic vulnerability. The C919 was built to change that, aiming to become a source of national pride and a showcase of Chinese engineering. Its first commercial flight in 2023 was a moment of celebration, with China Eastern Airlines flying between major cities and state media hailing a new era of self-sufficiency. Domestic airlines quickly placed over 1,000 orders, ensuring the C919 would dominate China's skies. But China's ambitions didn't stop at home. The goal was to see the C919 at gates in Paris, New York, and London. To do that, the C919 needed more than just Chinese approval. It needed the world's trust. The journey from national champion to global contender was just beginning. Would the world let the dragon fly? The answer would depend on more than engineering. It would hinge on politics, certification, and global power struggles. The C919 had taken off, but its flight path was far from clear. In aviation, trust is built on certification. Without it, a plane is grounded, literally and figuratively. The gold standards are set by EASA in Europe and the FAA in the US. Their approval is a passport to the world's busiest airports. Without these stamps, the C919 is locked out of key markets, unable to land at major hubs or attract global airlines and leasing companies. Certification isn't just paperwork, it's a grueling, years-long process. Regulators scrutinize every bolt, every line of code, every test flight. For COMAC, EASA and FAA approval would mean global credibility and open doors to international sales. But the process is slow, demanding, and often political. Without it, the C919 remains a domestic player. Its global ambitions stalled. The stakes couldn't be higher. Certification is the difference between a national project and a global competitor. For China, this was the next great hurdle. But the gatekeepers in Brussels and Washington weren't about to make it easy. China's hopes for a quick European entry were dashed by EASA. Early optimism faded as EASA extended the certification timeline, first to 2028, then possibly beyond. Officially, the delays were about technical data and transparency. EASA cited concerns over the C919's hybrid avionics and the need for rigorous safety checks. But many saw geopolitics at play. With trade tensions rising, Europe was wary of letting a state-backed Chinese jet compete with Airbus. The result? An indefinite wait, effectively shutting the C919 out of Europe. This sent a clear message to other regulators. If EASA wasn't ready, why should anyone else be? For China, it was a major setback. Europe's doors were closed and the dream of global reach was slipping away. The C919 was stuck on the runway, blocked by more than just technicalities. The wall of Brussels was real, and the world was watching. The next move would come from across the Atlantic. If Europe's response was slow, America's was swift and decisive. The C919 relies on LEAP-1C engines, made by a US-French joint venture. This was its Achilles heel. In 2025, the US suspended export licenses for these engines, citing national security and fears of technology transfer. The move was a direct escalation in the US-China tech war, targeting China's aviation ambitions at their core. Without engines, C919 production would grind to a halt. A small stockpile kept things moving temporarily, but the future was in jeopardy. China condemned the move as protectionism, but the damage was done. The blockade exposed China's dependence on Western technology, despite years of self-reliance campaigns. The C919 couldn't fly without its American heart. The message was clear. In the new era of tech rivalry, even the skies were contested. The jet's future now depended on China's ability to innovate or find new partners. The American hammer had fallen, and the shockwaves were global. The C919's dream of global competition was suddenly on life support. The combined effect of Europe's certification freeze and America's engine embargo was devastating. The C919's global ambitions were put on ice. International airlines and lessors lost interest. No one wanted a plane that couldn't fly to the West or guarantee engine supply. The order book shrank to almost entirely domestic buyers. The C919 became a captive asset, valuable only within China, and its international market value plummeted. Ironically, as its global prospects faded, its importance at home soared. With Western jets harder to get, the C919 became a necessity for Chinese airlines. The very sanctions meant to cripple it made it indispensable in China. But the reputational damage was real. Outside China, the C919 was seen as not ready for prime time. Years of marketing as a global contender were undone by politics and regulation. The C919 could fly, but only in a cage of geopolitics. Shut out by the West, China pivoted inward. The government made the C919 a national priority, pushing state airlines to buy and fly it. With a vast domestic market, the C919 found a guaranteed home. China also targeted friendly nations in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, places less concerned with Western certification. The strategy: build a parallel aviation ecosystem, offering not just planes but financing, maintenance, and training. The C919 became a tool of diplomacy and influence, not just commerce. Every new domestic route was celebrated as a victory over Western pressure. The narrative shifted from rejection to resilience. The C919 was no longer just a jet, it was a symbol of national defiance and self-reliance. Beijing reframed the story, not global rejection, but national triumph. The world might say no, but China would say yes, loudly. The US engine embargo was a wake-up call for China. The solution: build a homegrown jet engine, the CJ1000A. Developing a world-class engine is one of engineering's toughest challenges, but China poured billions into the effort. The goal: swap out Western engines, making the C919 truly independent. The CJ1000A isn't ready yet, but it's now China's top aerospace priority. This push is part of a broader strategy for technological self-reliance, building not just engines, but every critical component. The setbacks only hardened Beijing's resolve. For China, this is about more than business. It's about national security and autonomy. The C919 struggles proved that without self-sufficiency, China's aviation dreams would always be vulnerable. The race for a Chinese heart is on, and the stakes are higher than ever. The C919 now lives a double life. In China, it's a hero, valued, celebrated, and in high demand. Airlines line up to buy it, and the government ensures its success. But outside China, it's a pariah, risky, uncertified, and shunned by global investors. Its value abroad is a fraction of what it's worth at home. This split reflects a new reality. The global economy is fragmenting along political lines. The C919 story shows how geopolitics can override technical merit. Western efforts to isolate the jet have only made it more precious to China. The C919 is now a protected species, less global, but more vital than ever to Beijing. In the end, it's become a symbol of both division and determination. The C919 saga is a preview of a divided future for aviation and technology. The era of open skies and global standards is giving way to strategic competition and regulatory walls. Western jets may dominate one block, Chinese jets another. International travel could become more complicated, with competing standards and restricted routes. The trust that made global aviation seamless is eroding, replaced by suspicion and rivalry. For China, the lesson is clear. Self-reliance is no longer optional. If Beijing succeeds, it could break the Western duopoly and reshape the industry. The C919's journey is a cautionary tale about the collision of technology, commerce, and politics. The world's aviation map is being redrawn, and turbulence lies ahead. The age of smooth, interconnected flight is ending. Welcome to the era of divided skies.